Narrator. Hello and a very warm welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. Have you ever received feedback that felt difficult to hear? Do you sometimes struggle with how to react when someone points out an area for improvement in your work or behavior? Well, today we're going to delve into the common and often challenging topic of handling criticism. From constructive feedback aimed at development to more negative or unfairly delivered comments, how we respond to criticism significantly impacts our professional growth, relationships, and self-confidence. Understanding different types of criticism, developing effective strategies for processing it, and learning to turn feedback into a powerful tool for improvement is a vital skill for anyone in the workplace. Today we'll listen to an insightful and practical conversation between two professionals, Maya and Ben, as they discuss their experiences with criticism and how they've learned to navigate it. By listening to their discussion, you'll not only enhance your English comprehension but also gain valuable vocabulary for discussing feedback and learn practical approaches for turning criticism into an opportunity for growth. And remember to stay with us until the end of their conversation, where we'll have a practice session designed to help you actively engage with the language and concepts they explore. So, take a moment to reflect on your own experiences with receiving feedback, listen attentively, and let's explore the multifaceted world of handling criticism together. Maya, hi Ben. It's good to connect with you. I was just thinking about how crucial feedback is in our careers, but also how tricky it can be to receive. What are some of the biggest challenges you've faced when it comes to handling criticism? Ben, hi Maya. It's great to chat with you too. You've hit on a really important point. For me, one of the most persistent challenges has been managing my initial emotional reaction, especially when the criticism feels personal or unfair. My instinct can sometimes be to get defensive. Maya, absolutely. That feeling of being put on the spot or misunderstood can be incredibly difficult to manage. I've definitely been there. Another challenge I've faced is discerning between constructive criticism and mere negativity or even unhelpful comments. Ben, yes, the difference between feedback that helps you grow and feedback that just cuts you down. It requires a lot of emotional regulation to differentiate. Maya, exactly. And sometimes, even when it is constructive, the way it's delivered can make it hard to hear. What about receiving criticism from someone in a position of authority like a manager? Have you experienced challenges with that? Ben, several times. Whether it's during performance reviews or spontaneous feedback, receiving criticism from a manager can feel particularly impactful because it often relates to your career trajectory or job security. It can create a lot of pressure. Maya, definitely. The fear of being judged or falling short of expectations can be quite unsettling. Another challenge I've personally grappled with is when criticism is given in a public setting like during a team meeting. It can feel like being called out. And I can relate to that. That feeling of being exposed or embarrassed can be really uncomfortable. It's important to find ways to process that without letting it undermine your confidence. Maya, so, how have you typically dealt with your initial emotional reaction to criticism, especially when you feel defensive? What strategies have you found effective? Ben, for me it's been crucial to learn to pause and breathe before responding. That brief moment helps me prevent an impulsive, defensive reaction. I also try to remind myself that the feedback is usually about the work, not me as a person. Maya, that's a great tip. Taking that moment to create space is so important. I've found that active listening is key, really trying to understand the other person's perspective without immediately formulating a rebuttal in my head. Sometimes just asking clarifying questions can help diffuse the tension. Ben, that's a mature approach. I've found that trying to empathize with the person giving the criticism, perhaps they're under pressure too, can often de-escalate tensions. And as you said, focusing on the specific behavior or task being criticized, rather than internalizing it as a personal attack, is vital. Maya, what about distinguishing between constructive criticism and unhelpful negativity? How do you cope with that? Ben, I try to evaluate the source and the intent. Is the person trying to genuinely help me improve, or are they just complaining or being critical for the sake of it? I also look for specific examples. If there are no specifics, it's harder to act on and probably less valuable. Maya, that's a proactive way to handle it. I've found that seeking a second opinion from a trusted mentor or colleague can help validate whether the criticism is fair or useful. And as you said, if it lacks specificity, it's harder to action. Ben, and what about dealing with criticism from a manager? What strategies have you used to keep a positive outlook and respond effectively? Maya, I try to approach it as an opportunity for development. I ask for specific examples and try to understand the impact of my actions. I also make a point of following up after I've had time to reflect, outlining how I plan to address their feedback. This shows I'm taking it seriously. Ben, those are all excellent strategies. I've also found that preparing for a performance review, for instance, by doing a self-assessment beforehand, can help me anticipate feedback and respond more thoughtfully. And recognizing that feedback is a continuous process, not just a one-off event, helps me manage it better. Maya, that's a great point. It's an ongoing process of learning and refinement. What about some of the less obvious challenges when it comes to criticism? Have you encountered any of those? Ben, one that comes to mind is when you receive mixed signals, positive feedback in one area, but then criticism in another without clear guidance on how to prioritize or reconcile them. Feeling like your efforts are being pulled in conflicting directions can be quite confusing. Maya, oh, that's a big one. It can make you feel like you're not sure what standard you're supposed to meet. How have you addressed that? Ben, I've tried to be more proactive in asking for clarification. I'll say, I appreciate the positive feedback on X and I understand your concern about Y. Could you help me understand how to balance these two areas, or which one takes precedence? This helps to get clear guidance. Maya, that's a good way to advocate for clarity. Another subtle challenge can be when you overanalyze criticism, dwelling on every word and letting it affect your confidence long after the conversation is over. Ben, absolutely. That internal loop of self-doubt can be complex and sometimes frustrating. Trying to build a healthier internal narrative and focusing on professionalism and integrity can help you navigate those waters. I try to acknowledge the feeling, then consciously shift my focus to actionable steps. Maya, that's a healthy approach. What about dealing with a lack of specific actionable criticism, when someone just says, your work isn't good enough without explaining why? That's a challenge many people face. Ben, that can be incredibly frustrating and unhelpful. I found that trying to request specific examples or to ask what a successful outcome would look like can sometimes help. Setting clear boundaries and documenting interactions can also be important if it becomes a pattern of unhelpful criticism. And sometimes, unfortunately, it might lead to seeking feedback from a different source or even considering a different role. Maya, that's a tough one. Receiving vague criticism is not constructive. What about the challenge of being overly sensitive to criticism, where even minor feedback feels like a major blow? That's something many professionals struggle with. Ben, it's a constant learning curve. For me, it involves consciously trying to separate my personal worth from my work performance. Prioritizing self-care activities and reminding myself that everyone makes mistakes and receives feedback is essential for long-term well-being and preventing emotional burnout. Maya, absolutely. Making time for self-reflection and building self-compassion is crucial for long-term well-being and resilience. It's not always easy, but it's vital. Ben, so it seems like handling criticism is multifaceted and can range from managing emotional reactions to dissecting vague feedback and dealing with the delivery method. Maya, exactly. And the way we deal with these challenges can significantly impact our professional growth, our relationships with colleagues and managers, and our overall happiness. Developing resilience, strong communication skills, and self-awareness are key. Ben, I agree. And learning from each experience with criticism and adapting your strategies over time is also important. What works in one situation might not work in another. Maya, that's a great point. It's an ongoing process of learning and refinement. Ben, well, Maya, this has been a really insightful conversation. It's good to know that many of these challenges are universal and that there are strategies we can use to navigate them. Maya, absolutely, Ben. Sharing these experiences can be really helpful. It reminds us that we're not alone in facing these hurdles and that criticism, when handled well, can be a powerful catalyst for growth. Narrator. That was a truly insightful and relatable conversation between Maya and Ben, exploring the diverse and often complex landscape of handling criticism. They shared practical strategies for managing emotional reactions, distinguishing between types of feedback, responding to criticism from authority, and maintaining confidence. Now, let's move on to our practice session to help you actively engage with the language and concepts they explored. Practice section. Part 1. Vocabulary of handling criticism. Let's review some key vocabulary and phrases related to handling criticism that Maya and Ben used. Handling criticism, the way one deals with or responds to negative feedback or judgment. Think about, why is handling criticism an important skill in any profession? Constructive criticism, feedback that is helpful and intended to improve something. What are the characteristics of constructive criticism? Discerning, between recognizing or telling the difference between two or more things. Why is discerning between constructive and unhelpful criticism important? Emotional regulation, the ability to manage and respond to emotional experiences. Why is emotional regulation crucial when receiving criticism? Defensive, to get defensive, behaving in a way that shows you feel attacked or criticized. What are some signs someone is getting defensive? On the spot, to be put on the spot, being asked to answer a difficult question or do something difficult without preparation. How does being put on the spot with criticism feel? Discreetly / in public, in a careful, unnoticeable way / in a visible, open way. What are the differences between receiving criticism discreetly versus in public? Undermine confidence, to gradually weaken or damage someone's self-belief. How can criticism undermine confidence if not handled well? Pause and breathe, to take a moment to stop and take a deep breath to calm down. Why is it helpful to pause and breathe before responding to criticism? Active listening, fully concentrating on what is being said rather than just hearing the message. How does active listening help when receiving feedback? Formulating a rebuttal, preparing an argument or statement to contradict or oppose something. Why should you avoid immediately formulating a rebuttal? Clarifying questions, questions asked to get more information or to understand something better. How can asking clarifying questions help when receiving criticism? Empathize, with to understand and share the feelings of another. Why is it helpful to empathize with the person giving criticism? De-escalate tensions, to reduce the intensity of a conflict or difficult situation. How can a calm response de-escalate tensions during a feedback session? Internalizing, as a personal attack, taking something personally or believing it is about your character rather than specific actions. Why should you avoid internalizing criticism as a personal attack? Evaluate the source and intent, to judge who gave the feedback and what their purpose was. Why is it important to evaluate the source and intent of criticism? Lack specificity, to not have enough detail or precision. Why is criticism that lacks specificity less helpful? A second opinion, an additional view or judgment from another person. When might you seek a second opinion on criticism you've received? Approach as an opportunity for development, to see feedback as a chance to grow and improve. How can you approach criticism as an opportunity for development? Following up, to communicate further about something previously discussed or initiated. Why is following up after receiving feedback a good practice? Mixed signals, conflicting or contradictory messages. How can receiving mixed signals and feedback be confusing? Prioritize / reconcile, to decide what is most important / to make different ideas or facts compatible. What does it mean to prioritize and reconcile conflicting feedback? Overanalyze, to analyze something more than necessary, often leading to anxiety or confusion. What are the dangers of overanalyzing criticism? Internal loop of self-doubt, a recurring pattern of negative thoughts about oneself. How can you break an internal loop of self-doubt after criticism? Actionable, criticism that provides clear steps or suggestions for improvement. Why is it important for criticism to be actionable? Overly sensitive, easily offended or upset. What are signs that someone might be overly sensitive to criticism? Self-compassion, kindness and understanding toward oneself, especially when facing difficulties. Oh, how does self-compassion help with handling criticism? A resilience, the ability to recover quickly from difficulties. Toughness. Oh, why is resilience important when dealing with constant feedback? Part 2. Reflecting on your experiences with criticism. Think about your own experiences with receiving criticism, past or present. Answer the following questions. What has been one of the most memorable instances of criticism you've received in your career? How did that criticism make you feel initially? What was your immediate reaction? What strategies did you try to use to process or respond to that criticism? Were they effective? Did you seek advice or support from anyone, mentors, trusted colleagues, friends, family? How helpful was their input? Looking back, what did you learn from that experience? Would you approach receiving similar criticism differently now? What are some of the ongoing challenges you currently face when it comes to feedback? How are you managing them? Do you feel your workplace fosters an environment where feedback is given and received constructively? So how? If not, what could improve it? What personal qualities or skills do you think are most important for effectively handling criticism? What advice would you give to someone who is currently struggling with receiving critical feedback? Part 3. Practicing phrases for discussing criticism. Imagine you are talking to a colleague in English about a piece of criticism you recently received. Practice using the following phrases in your conversation. I recently received some feedback on a project/task. It was a bit challenging to hear at first because I'm trying to see it as constructive criticism. The main point they made was about I'm focusing on the actionable steps from the feedback. I've asked for some clarification on specific point. Have you ever felt misunderstood when receiving feedback? Any advice on how to better process this kind of input? I'm working on not taking it too personally. Practice incorporating these phrases naturally into your explanation of the situation and your feelings about it. Part 4. Role-playing a solution-oriented discussion about giving feedback. Imagine you and a colleague are brainstorming how to give more effective criticism to a team member who is struggling. Take turns suggesting potential strategies for delivery and discussing their pros and cons. Use phrases like, what if we tried to frame the feedback as an opportunity for their growth? Another option could be to focus on specific examples of their work, not their personality. I think the benefit of that would be that it keeps the feedback objective. However, a potential drawback might be that it could still feel overwhelming if there's too much at once. Have you considered asking them for their self-assessment first before giving our feedback? That's an interesting idea. How would that work in practice to open the conversation? I'm not sure if just giving positive and negative feedback side by side is always effective. Sometimes it can dilute the message. Perhaps we could emphasize the impact of their work rather than just pointing out mistakes? What do you think the next step should be in preparing for this conversation? Practice this dialogue, focusing on collaborative problem-solving and respectful communication. Narrator. The workplace, while often a source of fulfillment and growth, inevitably presents opportunities for feedback, including criticism. As Maya and Ben so thoughtfully illustrated, recognizing criticism as a potential catalyst for improvement, and developing effective strategies for navigating it, is essential for our professional well-being and long-term success. By fostering open communication, practicing self-awareness, seeking clarity, and prioritizing our own emotional resilience, we can learn to not just receive criticism, but also to grow powerfully from it. Thank you for joining the English Learning Podcast today. We hope this episode has provided you with valuable language and practical insights for mastering the art of handling criticism. We'll be back soon with more engaging conversations to support your English learning journey. Until then, remember that every piece of feedback, when approached with the right mindset, holds the key to unlocking new levels of skill and self-understanding.